I don't like this world, I only like you. Chapter 1.2. This is what it feels like to date a male Capricorn. 007. Last year, our company conducted a program in relatively rural, mountainous area. Stuck in the crowd, I was shoved and fell onto the ground. My leg struck a rock in the process, and stars appeared before my eyes. My colleague helped me up, asking me whether I felt okay. I crawled out and dusted the dirt off myself. I told him that I was fine, 2 plasters would suffice. It was only when I returned that I discovered that half of my pants were soaked in blood. I hobbled to the infirmary, where the doctor informed me that I had to stitch my wound. However, there was no anesthetic presently. As we had continued with the program the next day, we could not afford any delays. Thus, I grit my teeth and told the doctor to go ahead. I endured the pain obstinately, refusing to make even a single sound. My colleague, a man 1.8 meters tall from northeast China, watched on the sidelines, his eyes reddening during the process. He told me that he had nothing but a genuine respect for me. I was rather abashed and said, "This is nothing. When I was young, I had an operation once, and even though the pain was 100 times worse then, I managed to endure it." Mr. F came to visit us when we returned to Beijing. I knocked out the moment sat in the car, only rising halfway during the journey to hear my colleague chatting with him, claiming that if I had been born a few decades later, I would definitely have been Liu Hulan. Is she this strong even at home? Mr. F replied, "No, she loves to wine at home, and she frequently cries when she watches movies, to the point where I had to comfort her as though she's still a child." Macaulay was bewildered. "Why?" "Because she doesn't have to be strong in front of me." Oh, cute! Listen to their conversation silently. I felt myself tear up. I saw a line in the book once, and it left me a deep impression on me then. It said that during one's lifetime, one could find love, and one could find sex. But there are unimportant things. What's important is that one finds understanding. I thought, this must be understanding. 008. The company wanted to plan an event relating to the reminiscence of youth. I sent a mass text messages to my friends asking, "The person who you crushed on when you were studying, what is he or she doing now?" I received various replies. He became father of other children. He married and gave birth to children. I dreamed of him last night, and even in the dream he was nonchalant and dismissive as ever. No matter how hard I try, I can never catch up with his footsteps. I was very sad in the dream because he didn't do anything wrong. It's just that he didn't love me. When I was studying, I only loved my assessment books. Oh my gosh, they're just so sad. I read the answers slowly and discovered that I had accidentally sent the message to Mr. F as well. However, I didn't possess any hope that he'd reply, as he generally tends not to reply in types of mass text messages. We were engulfed with work during that period of time, and when I returned at home, it was already 11 p.m. at night. He was even later than me. Whilst I was asleep, I felt him carefully making his way onto the bed and tucking my blanket in for me. He was gone when I woke up in the morning. It was only when I arrived at the company and discovered unread messages in my mobile phone. I opened it and saw his answer. She became my world and she's living beside me right now. 2:45 a.m. in the morning. Oh my gosh. That's so calculate. Oh my gosh. 009. When I was dating Mr. F, I was rather unsure about our relationship. This couple, with his extremely obstinate nature, resulted in me continuously being the first to apologize and make amends whenever we quarreled. Once, when we were quarreling, he engaged in a cold war with me and ignored me for a week. Despite my shameless efforts to try and make amends, he still chose not to bother about me or respond to me. That day, the radio in the car was broadcasting Shang Shiwen's song's Baby. There was a line in the song that goes, Mr. Rascal, Little Rascal. Oh my, Mr. Rascal, Little Rascal. There was a line in the song that goes, my little rascal, rascal, little rascal. I make you laugh to let you like this world. I said, look, aren't this really talking about you? You're like a little child who feels that the world is yours. After conversing with myself for a while, my voice grew softer and softer, and I gradually choked up, feeling extremely wrong and unappreciated. I thought in my heart, fine, ignore me then. At most, we'll just break up. The entire journey was filled with silence. The car stopped before my company, and I prepared to alight. Suddenly, he grabbed hold of me and replied suddenly while skipping his eyes to the world, but I don't like the entire world. I only like you to stream down my face. But I don't like the world. I only like you. Oh, so sweet. 010. My grandmother is extremely old, and her brain has become slightly fuddled. To everyone's amazement, however, she can communicate with Mr. F despite not being able to communicate with the rest of us. There was one year when we returned to grandmother's home to celebrate Chinese New Year. I was helping my mother prepare the dishes whilst Mr. F was in the courtyard chatting with mother, and I overheard him teaching grandmother English. I love you means I love you. Wait. Speak slowly. I what? F patiently said, I love you. Grandmother confidently nodded, committed to memory. At night, when we were eating dinner, I intentionally asked grandmother, I heard that you have learned how to speak English. Grandmother was delighted. Little F taught me how. Mr. F turned to him asking, how do you say I love you in English? I. Grandmother tried her best to recall and finally asked, I love you. The whole table rolled with laughter. Late at night, I came out to retrieve a cup of water and saw the light in the grandfather's room was still turned on. I assumed that grandmother had simply forgotten to turn off the light as usual, and walked over to her room. Upon reaching the doorway, I saw grandmother sitting alone in the armchair, whilst holding my deceased grandfather, saying, Oldie, I love you. That makes me tear up. That night, when Mr. F and I were lying on the bed, Mr. F hugged me and said, grandmother's very lonely, but to come back more often to accompany her. All of a sudden, I felt like crying. Me too. I'm shedding few tears. Those who are unfamiliar with Mr. F always been that he is like a rock, extremely cold and unfriendly. Only I know that he isn't like that. He is very gentle. The gentlest the gentlest man I have ever met. Oh my gosh, that makes me cry. 011. The night before we obtained our marriage certificate, I asked him, when did you start to develop feelings for me? Oh, this is the description below. He answered, I don't remember. But why me? Why not you? I'm very petty, and I get jealous very easily. So am I? I'm afraid I'm not worthy of you. So am I? I haven't really dated, so I don't know what is love. I don't know either. He held my hand gently, but I know this. When I think about spending the rest of my life with you, I feel like my future is filled with hope. At 16, we used the same class desk. With less than 10 centimeters between our arms, my peripheral vision was full of him. At 26, I woke up in the morning and saw the sunlight softly shining on his face. I thought, this is how I want to grow old gradually, together with him. I guess this must be love. Subscribe me, and if you want to read this chapter, I'll put it on the link below. Thanks.